Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Got a special guest in the building. What's up, Laci? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? How are you, Steve? How you been? It's been a minute since I've been on the channel. It's been a minute since I've been on YouTube in general. So, what's popping?
Man, we you know what, girl? We are celebrating another Directors Cup. Let's start there. The fourth Directors Cup in 5 years for the University of Texas Athletic Department, right? Led by one Cristo Conti. This amazing, this year that we've done it, our first year in the SEC. So there's a lot for us to talk about. But the other thing that's popping is we're going to do some bold predictions today. And I want
Mm.
to engage that with the chat, see how everybody feels about our bold predictions on the Texas football season. But Laci, how you doing? What's been going on with you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just chilling, following all of our Texas sports, watching softball win a natty, for the first time in school history. Softball is my sport. I played softball all growing up until I was like 16, 17 years old. So, softball was my sport of choice outside of cheer growing up. And so, watching my team win a national championship in my sport is just like, don't get me wrong, I love football, love baseball, love all of our Texas sports, but winning it in my sport just it feels a little different. It's still a little surreal, even though like obviously I wasn't on the field. I ain't got nothing to do with it. But like it's just such an amazing feeling, and to know that played obviously a very big part in us winning that for a huge part in winning four of the last five, our fourth
Our
out of the
fourth.
last five. Like, who has it better than us right now? Let's ask that question.
I mean, the I think it's actually understated how significant the Directors Cup trophy means. I mean, that means you have the best athletics, the best sports in all the land, right? And for 25 consecutive seasons until COVID, Stanford had that title, by the way. Nobody else won this cup except for Stanford, except for North Carolina the
20.
first year.
Yep.
North Carolina won the first year, and then Stanford won 25 in a row. And then COVID happens, and now we've captured four out of the last five.
And here come the horns. Like,
So
that's pretty much what it's been the past few years. Is just here come the horns in anything and everything. It's been very, very fun to be a Horns fan over the past few years. And I just hope we don't take it for granted as a fan base that is very emotional, that lives on edge 90% of the time. I really hope that Longhorn Nation, the Texas fan base, is just enjoying this for what it is, because you may get the bad results here and there, but we are in the good times, y'all. We are.
no, we are in the great times, and more to come, right? I mean, there's so much talent being onboarded into this program in all the sports, right? Softball being the top softball player coming in 2026, right? They're going to keep the party going under Mike White. I'm excited the growth of the sport, right? And the viewership, the eyeballs, the excitement, all that's super dope, right? And so, as we get eyeballs here, that's a great segue for me. Hit the like button, subscribe,
There you
the
go.
whole bit. We appreciate you guys. We got my girl Laci Butler in here. We're talking ball. We're excited from the Laced Up podcast. Laci's all over the Texas sphere. You'll find her, very active on Twitter right now and supporting the ladies softball team. So we're just excited to be here and having some fun today. And also, we're going to talk about our bold predictions, right? Five bold predictions I think five between the two of us that we have. We'll get Laci back on here in a second. But we put together some bold predictions for the Texas football season that I'm also excited to get to. But Ed B said Stanford was getting points for basket weaving. The disrespect. Not the basket weaving points. Not the basket weaving points. That's crazy. That's crazy. No, absolutely. Jade A, what's up? What's up? What's up? We'll get Laci back on here momentarily. Um, this is a fun time. This is a fun time. Let me see. Laci, you back?
My bad.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good.
My Wi-Fi is all funky, so I had to turn it off. But we're back. We're up and running. We're good.
No, no
My
worries, no
bad.
worries. So, as a you're an alum of the school. I am getting a little bit of an echo. Maybe just me, but
1 second. Let me try. Sorry.
no, no worries. We'll get it situated. Same thing. Steve's connect. Cameron's nasty.
Is that better?
Let me see if I can. Da, 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 da.
Ah,
Nah, go ahead. I'll mute out while you're talking. But I just
is
wanted
that
you to react
better?
to the. I can still hear myself a little bit, but it might be it's a little weird.
Here.
But no worries.
Sorry. What was the question?
Nah, you're good. Nah, the question was, as an alum, right? Just where when you went to school, where this program was. I think it was. I think you were at the program uh, before Chris Del Conte. I don't know if you were
Yes,
there under.
yes, I was. I was
Okay,
there from so I was at Texas from 2013 to 2017. So I had the very beginning of the Charlie Strong years. So
had the wet of the storm.
I have earned my stripes. Okay, I have weathered this storm. So I'm gonna enjoy this. And students that are on campus nowadays, y'all better realize how good you have it. Oh my God. We didn't have Bevo Boulevard. We didn't have any of the game day experience that is what it is now. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have any of that before Chris Del Conte. And I think a part of that fan experience, getting the fan base more involved just in general, adds to the winning, adds to the culture that we're bringing in, adds to the winning coaches that he continues to bring in. It's just like everything that Chris Del Conte has been able to bring to Texas is just it's amazing. It's astonishing to witness, to be able to see the flip and for it to happen the way that it's happened. And it's just it like I said, it just makes me damn proud to be a Longhorn at
We
this
got a
point in time.
Oh, absolutely. We got a comment here from Michael Gooseby saying, "What's up, Lacey? Getting ready for OSU?
What's up? What's up, Mr. Gooseby? Hook 'em.
Hook 'em, Mr. Gooseby in the building. We got royalty in here, which is
Sir.
always fun. One of the things in regards to your point about just the expansion of the program, it goes right in line with the fan experience, right? Those of us, whether you're a student, whether you're a fan, the Moody Center, right? All of the athletic and the continuation of that. I mean, eventually we're going to get a new practice facility. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
things to come, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the adjustments. I know baseball had their rough issue in the postseason. Amazing year under Schloss, overall SEC champs. That contributes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when they had the storm in Austin and how quickly they were able to get the dish up for those regionals, that's
Mm-hmm.
just an example of just how locked in this entire athletic department is from top to bottom. It's been very, very impressive. And I've been on YouTube for a minute. I was here when, in the Tom Herman days, I was here when we were complaining about certain things, but I've never felt like Chris Del Conte didn't have a handle on
Mm-hmm.
things and things as they progress, and getting it to where it needs to be. And like you said, it was a very close call. We needed that softball championship to get over the edge. I mean, USC
Mm-hmm.
was right there, right? And we actually got
Stanford
to
too.
we got to thank little brother because they actually handled their business in track to
Yay! Round of
Texas
applause.
Texas A&M tying USC in men's outdoor track was what put Texas over the edge for the Directors Cup this year.
You
So
honestly, whatever voodoo that our fan base did for all of this to happen the way that it's happened with our, initiation into the SEC, it's just been overall, like I said earlier, we've had our little blemishes. You've had your heartbreaks. You've had your moments where you're like that. Like our baseball team probably should have progressed a little bit further. That was frustrating. But at the same time, like you look at everything as a whole, and there's nothing to sit here and actually be upset about. And so for the fact that OU has been down, hadn't scored a touchdown in Dallas in 2 of the last 3 seasons. A&M does what A&M does all the time anyways. And they continue to do it even more and embarrass themselves even more now that Texas is in the SEC. And then you got all the SEC fan bases that just thought that we were going to come in, oh, Texas ain't ready for the SEC. Ha! Joke's on you. Because not only did we win
Facts.
the Director's Cup, but we've also our inaugural year in the SEC, we take home the most SEC championships of any school in the entire SEC. So what I posted a video, sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but I posted a video before football season even started, and I was like, if you're an SEC fan base and you're not named Georgia, Alabama, or LSU, you do not need to be talking to me. You do not need to be yapping to me about anything because Texas is coming in to take your spots as the 1, 2, 3, 4 in that realm. We're not coming to take over y'all scraps, how y'all like to sit here and treat the newcomers. Not happening. And we came in and we proved it and we said, LOL, you thought.
And you know what's cool is Texas hasn't been we're a member of the SEC, we're wearing SEC jackets. No, we're representing Texas. We
Mm-hmm.
do not care about the rest of you. And that should be the energy because Texas has been, whether we've been good or not, people talk about us, right?
Yes.
So at this point, you might as well be dominant. You might as well because even when we were bad under the Charlie Strong days, we were still the topic of conversation only about how bad we were, how much of a
Yep.
disappointment we were, how much money we were wasting, right? So at this point, we ain't here to be nice. We ain't here to make friends. You know what's friendly? Us making money for you. Like I say, when we go
Mm-hmm.
into another
You're
SEC
welcome.
city, we're the stimulus package, right? When we
Mm-hmm.
go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, you're welcome. We're the stimulus
Yeah.
package, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, whether regardless, Gainesville, Florida, you will see the stimulus package
We
next
love
year.
doing charity.
It's an amazing thing that we do. What starts here, starts here goes. What's the quote that
What
he
starts here changes the world. Come
what starts
on,
here
Steve.
what starts here changes the world. I had to have an alum finish that, because there's a piece of pride and sense of pride that comes with that. So I'm
And it's
glad you.
true. It's so true. It's so, so, so true. And it's crazy how the different mantras and stuff that are enshrined in stadiums or enshrined in our tradition as Longhorns, as the University of Texas. It's crazy just how much those really do ring true. The winning tradition, the whole winning tradition quote that baseball uses. That's exactly what it means to be a Texas Longhorn. That's exactly what it means to play baseball, softball, football as a Texas Longhorn. And we're actually embodying that finally
I
again.
know,
And it
and
feels so good.
it's I talked one time, when we were a few years ago when we were having issues in the football program with culture. I talked about positive pressure and
Mm-hmm.
positive because a lot of the ladies, whether it was swimming, whether it was softball, all these other sports were really handling their business at the time, but we weren't handling our business in that marquee sport that we
The
put a lot
revenue
of
sports.
right. And so it's like, hey, having that pressure there of, you know this is the standard of the school, this is the standard of the athletic program, whether you're an athlete competing in golf, whether you're an athlete competing in any of the quote unquote Olympic sports, and that standard
Love that
going
insult.
going,
Sorry.
but we view that as a positive, right? I mean, I care about the Olympics. I don't know about everybody else. I mean,
I
why
think
is
it's
that?
insane to use that as a jab or like a way to like oh you're only good at Olympic sports. So we go and beat other countries' athletes.
Right. Look at the gold
All
medals
right.
we brought back, whether they were USA athletes or other countries. I mean, come on. You got the
Texas,
fastest woman in the
the
world as a
the
Texas Longhorn.
University of Texas brings home more gold medals than a lot of countries do. And that's not being dramatic. That's dead serious. If you pay attention to the Olympics, you know that rings true. So it's always been so funny to me that people are like, "Oh, you're only good at the Olympic sports." Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely. Like
Hey,
what do you want me
hey,
to say?
football's coming into the Olympics, right? Flag football's coming
Yeah.
like
Softball's back in the Olympics. Let's
basketball's an
go.
Olympic sport, right?
That's what
Women made the final four, right?
and
Am I
have for the
mistaken
past
on
two of
that?
the past 3 years. I mean, I what do I know?
Hey,
Hey,
it's been fun times here, but shout out to the Texas Athletic Department. 4 Directors Cups in the last 5 years. Another one brought home, and shout out to what I call the kingmaker of college sports, Chris Del Conte. He's doing his thing. Laci, let's get to the bold. Let's get to the bold predictions for football.
ooh,
You want to start or should I?
you got it.
All right. So here's my first. Here's my first bold prediction for the season. I actually took. I took some notes this year, but I'll start out with this.
Oh, I love that for you.
I don't even need to look
I
at the notes, but I have some notes. My first bold prediction is DeAndre Moore Jr. will have the best statistical season of a Texas wide receiver since Devin Duvernay in 2019. That is my first
ooh.
hot take, bold prediction. Here's why. DeAndre Moore had 7 touchdowns last season. I know that may sound that to me that number sounded a bit high, and I went back and I was like, wow, this kid had 7 touchdowns last year. The only person that had more
Mhm.
touchdowns on the team was Matthew Golden with 9. He tied Gunnar Helm with 7. He had 7 on 39 catches, and he was not a starter.
Mm-mm.
This is work that was done while not being a starter,
And being
despite
hurt.
being hurt. He
Mhm.
dropped some touchdowns. There's a
I
bunch
could
of stuff
probably
going
count
on.
like at least two right off the top of my head that he dropped.
The guy had 7 touchdowns off the bench. So
Yeah.
and I think about the connection that he has with Arch Manning, and this is why it's a bold prediction because a lot of people are already saying, Steve, no way, blah, blah, blah. Here's why it's a bold prediction for me. For me. When I look at the inconsistency of the quarterbacks under Sark in terms of starts, we've had a backup quarterback, and this is every year under Sark, all 4 years under Sark, since 2021, we've had a backup quarterback have at least 70 pass attempts over the last 4 years. At least
That's a lot.
70.
That's
Arch
a
threw
lot.
90 something passes last year.
Yeah.
Under Sam Ellinger before COVID, our backup quarterbacks were throwing the ball 10 times,
Hmm.
20 times a year. Now, granted, that was also because we weren't blowing people out, but that was because Sam was on the field, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we didn't have, whether it was Casey Thompson or Quinn Ewers, missing whole weeks in games at a time. And the reason why I bring up the continuity of the quarterback play is the relationship with the quarterback himself. I think Ryan Wingo is going to be a huge big play threat. I think he's going to be, obviously grow on what he did last year. But DeAndre Moore being in year 3 in this program, the work he's done, the positional versatility that he'll play. I know Emmett Mosley will take up a lot in the slot and whatnot, but when I think about what he did in those games with Arch, he was cooking right
Yeah.
alongside him. And there's a
Hmm.
connection there. And I think there's a growth that is coming with DeAndre Moore's skill set. When I think about him as a route runner, when I think about him, toughness wise, even getting down the field, I think he has the unique ability to take the top off the defense down the field, but also be somebody that can catch balls in volume. And I think the biggest thing that's going to help him is guys like Parker Livingstone, guys like Jack Injuries, guys like Ryan Wingo that take attention away to where he will be able to. It's going to be hard to double anybody, and I think
I
there's
was about
going
to
to
say you
be
can't guard everybody.
right. And I'm not saying he's going to have a better season than Devin, but what I mean by that is if you look at the receivers since Devin Duvernay, only one person's gone over 1,000 yards. It was X in 2023, and he had 1,014 yards. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is not necessarily crazy. We've had a bunch of dudes
Mm-mm.
hit 800, 900 yards in extended time. All I'm saying is I would not be surprised if the boy put up 80 catches for 1,100 yards and led our team and
Mm-hmm.
had 10 touchdowns. That's not insane. So, but I think it's bold in the sense of a lot of people are looking at Parker, a lot of people are looking at
Yeah.
Ryan and Emmett, and
Mm-hmm.
I just have, DeAndre Moore. I think this is going to be his year in year 3 with Arch. And I think he's going to have the best statistical season for a Texas receiver since Devin Duvernay in 2019. That's my first bold prediction. What say
I think
you, Laci?
that's good. That's a good one. I think, keying in on his relationship with Arch, I think that we saw Demo go downfield a couple times for Arch last season. So seeing that connection, it makes complete sense why that would be a prediction for you. But in the same kind of ish realm, I guess. We're sticking offensive. So my bold prediction is that Sark has never not had 1,000 yard back. Bold prediction. This season, I think that Sark's not going to have just one, but 2,000 yard back.
Whoa. Whoa. Run
I
this one by
think,
me. You have my
I
attention.
think, okay, let's go. Walk through this with me. So, pretty much an entirely new offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of pieces that have been there consistently, been there taking reps and everything like that. But it's still going to take a second for everything to mesh. So I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of the two back sets with CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner. I really see Trey being a big threat out of the backfield. I think that with CJ coming back in, re-energized after the ACL, it could be a little touch and go there in the beginning, depending on how his injury is healing up, how the recovery and the rehab process is going on. But I think that with it being Arch's first year starting, I think with a new offensive line, I think that the experience of Trey Wisner and what he was able to see with SEC defenses last season,
Mm-hmm.
along with CJ being, like I said, that bully ball, ground and pound, re energized beast that we know he's going to be. I feel like both of them are going to pop off. So that's my bold prediction. I know it's kind of quick, but sorry, my dog's in the way.
No,
But
no. Let me look up something real quick because I want my whole thing is like what's the path, right? How do we get there? I do
yeah,
think in order for that to happen, we're going to have to obviously go on a playoff run
yes,
to get the
yes,
additional games
for
in,
sure,
right?
absolutely,
Like that's not
yes.
a 12 game, just like
No.
mine as well, right?
Yeah.
Mine is not a 12 game prediction. That's mine is assuming we're playing, into January, right? Um,
Mhm.
but if I look up, I just want to look at the work share between Wisner and particularly Jaden Blue last year because I don't think it's it's crazy far fetched depending based upon how they split time. And
Mhm.
also when you look at how Baxter split time with Brooks and Blue the year before, right?
Well, and
I
I
mean,
think with the
2023.
style of running, yeah, exactly. I think with the style of running backs that they are as well, they bring different skill sets for whatever Coach Clark is trying to do. So I feel like they're going to be they're going to be able to be utilized in multiple different types of situations for different reasons. And so I feel like both of them they're going to get their touches.
So, chat, when we look at last year, just last year alone, Trey Wisner had 1,000 yards rushing on essentially 226 carries. Jaden Blue had 730 yards rushing on 134 carries, They both caught over 40 passes, and they both had over 300 yards receiving. So Jaden Blue did eclipse 1,000 yards total offense last year. Trey Wisner eclipsed 1,300 yards total offense. So if you redistribute those carries and we get the yards per carry up, especially Wisner, let's say Wisner goes over 5 yards per carry. If we had two backs over 5 yards per carry, that's a dream, by the way.
Well, and
Like
one thing that we're not even really mentioning is Trey didn't even really get started going until the A&M game or the Kentucky game. Sorry,
yeah, mid like pretty
that was
much
when
yeah.
pretty much close to the end of the season is whenever
He
Trey
had
was
the
able to
big he had
finally
the
get in
big
there.
run in
And
the OU game though. He
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so he
But I
put up
mean more
yards.
so as being that every
The
down
guy.
back that we needed at
Yeah.
the time. Like as far as the workhorse taking most of the workload and taking advantage of his opportunities, that didn't even really happen until closer towards the end of the season. So like he was what Trey was able to do in the how many games is that? Like 5, 6,
Yeah. I mean, in
something
terms
like
of
that.
his a bulk of his rushing yards, yes.
Yeah.
Um
So.
he was pretty consistent in our passing game all year.
Mhm.
Even the Michigan game and the screen game and things of that sort, right? But like to your point, I mean, the bell cow type stuff, that was the A&M game for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Joey
And he
Flores
ran
with
all over that
donations.
defense. He ran all over that defense.
Joey Flores, thank you for your donation, sir. Hookem, this is for your amazing rant about strength of schedule the other day. Hey, you're welcome, Joey. Hookem, baby. Hookem. No, some people in the comments were being a little stubborn. You know who you are.
Mhm.
I've had to tell you multiple times over multiple videos, but you still want to argue with me. I'm not going to continue to have the same conversation and talk in circles. At some point, we just got to agree to disagree, right?
Mhm.
I've said it's either one of two things. Either you think the SEC is not as good as it was, and it's significantly top heavy, and this is not a gauntlet, or the conference is a gauntlet, and you're being unfair to Texas. Like, which one is it, right?
Mhm.
If the conference is a gauntlet, then
I've been saying that for a year. You can't have it both ways.
you can't have it both ways. But hey, you know what? Those folks want to continue to argue. We have 1 year sample size. That's why I'm saying, hey, we need to go ahead and win this conference. But Joey Flores, I appreciate you. The donations do mean a lot to the channels, and it is dope. David Wheeler says, Laci, he likes your prediction. Ed B says Christian Clark will surprise. Cameron does raise one valid point though, right? Is the health of and is Baxter going to be on a pitch count?
Mhm.
Which he is. The good news that did come out from the paid sites is I think Eric Nolan reported this from Inside Texas, is that he is back full go on 7-on-7s and doing all the summer workouts and whatnot. I still suspect that he will be on some type of pitch count. Just,
Yeah.
just, just more so to protect the player from himself. It-
Mhm.
you know,
Ease him back into it,
yeah. I mean, it's
both
the same
physically and
injury.
mentally.
It's the same injury Jonathan Brooks had, and I just can't stand that the Panthers rushed him back. And he got out there, and now he's had a massive setback, right? Like to where he's not even going to play football this year. That sucks.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
for me, it's I know we've made big strides in the medical aspect of it and healing and recovery, but I don't know. I struggle with thinking that we're just going to come back and he's going to pick right back up where he was at the end of 2023. I do think that if we do it right, he will get there. I'm not saying that CJ Baxter won't be a big vital part of this season. I just don't see it early, though, even though we are getting really good reports and whatnot that he is practicing. These are the things we want to hear, right? But if y'all remember, what was it? Couple seasons ago, it was Isaiah Nair had come back and he was dealing with the knee issue. So it's something that can be a challenge, but I just don't want the rush. I'm with that. I don't want somebody to get rushed back. Right now, if the player's balling, he's way ahead of schedule, and it's like an Adrian Peterson type situation, which I've only seen happen once. Great, right? That's a positive. But I've said it on this channel. I think you're gonna play the long game with Baxter. And that doesn't mean that he still can't have a big season. Even, I mean, like Laci just said earlier, Wisner's carries weren't even consistent until midseason. He still finished over 1,000 yards rushing. So, and here's the thing too: you've recruited so well, you have plenty of depth. What's the rush? What are you rushing? Right? Like that's why I'm like, why did Carolina rush Jonathan Brooks last year? Why? Like it doesn't make any sense. The guy was Carolina had what 3 wins at that point. Now with CJ, we're in a completely different scenario. There's plenty of depth. We're trying to win. He's trying to show that he can be healthy and get to the NFL. But I just think that if we start to see Ohio State game, for example, if he's 85%, great. But I do think that they'll probably be, they're not going to run the guy into the ground. That's all I'm saying. I know we're having some challenges with the connection for Laci, so we'll try to get her back on here. But it's AP was an alien. That was crazy. Exactly, Mr. Finley. We don't have to rush. We don't have to rush. One second, guys. I'm trying to get her back in. what's why is it getting spicy in the chat? What's going on? What's going on, chat? Why is it getting spicy in the chat? Let me go ahead with my next bold prediction. While we're talking here, so we can move. So far, I have DeAndre Moore Jr. having the best statistical season for a receiver, a Texas receiver, since 2019, Devin Duvernay. Laci has 2 Texas backs over 1,000 yards as her bold prediction. I'm gonna do a negative one before I have a positive. Before I finish with my positive bold prediction. And y'all, a lot of y'all aren't gonna like this, but hey, this isn't just a Kool-Aid space. We have to be realistic. My second bold prediction is that Texas will drop a game in Q3 of the schedule. That period being Florida, OU, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. Now, I don't think that's going to happen in the Mississippi State game, but more particular, the stretch on the road when we're away from home, either before OU. I don't think we're going to lose to OU, but I think that Florida game has me interested, and the Kentucky game is a sleeper game at Kentucky. Reason being is the physicality. I do think that both teams will have solid quarterback play. And again, it's a long season. Ohio State dropped games last year. They still won the national championship. I think Sark is right when he says the days of people just going undefeated and being perfect champions are probably a thing of the past, unless you're really, 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 really special or really, really, really lucky. Obviously, I'm not rooting for that. I hope I'm dead wrong on this. But I think that is a tough stretch, and I think we're going to be gearing up for Q4 of the schedule in November, when we have to go to Georgia, when we play back-to-back rivals to finish the season, which is Arkansas and A&M, I think we'll be obviously in a different mental space because not only will we be playing rivals, but we'll be getting ready for hopefully the SEC championship game. But I do think that there's going to be peaks and valleys, and I think Q3 is a place where we could get tripped up. So I do have Texas losing a game in that Q3 part of the schedule. I don't think it's going to be Mississippi State. I just don't think they have enough to even hang with us. But I think that part between Florida, OU, and Kentucky does give me some concern. So y'all go ahead and shoot me down on that. Some people said Florida if Lagway is Lagwaying. That's funny.
That was one of my, I mean, I guess bold predictions, but like with the way that OU and A&M have been trending the past few years and the way that we've been trending and everything, I feel like it's kind of bold to say that I feel like we will lose to one of them this season. I don't know which one. I don't know. It felt bold whenever I was sitting there thinking about it, but I just feel like one of them with Arch coming in with, like you said, that mixture of the timeline of where exactly it lines up in the schedule makes it really tough with OU and Florida and Georgia and all that stuff. So it's just I could see us tripping up a little bit more this season than we did last season, and I feel like that should be something people expect. But that also depends on how you viewed Quinn, which we know how polarizing that discussion is in this fan base. So it really depends on how you viewed that situation on if you think that's bold or not. But
J Ron, what's up, man? I can't say until I see it, brother. I can't. I know me and you've been fighting back and forth. I can't say because before the season, I thought some of the teams that ended up not being that good, I thought were going to be much tougher. To be so, I can't. I can't say right now. I can't say right now. Jack Burton said these perspectives are just too fanatic for me. That's hilarious. that's that's hilarious. I can't call it, brother. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Y'all got me tearing up because that's hilarious. Yeah, the Florida piece. Here's the other thing with Florida. I think they're gonna try to get their lick back because we ran it up on them last year. I think Florida gonna try to get their lick back. Now, in all fairness, that is our SEC opener. Um, but we don't have a. I think our bye actually comes what after the last G5 game before the Florida game. Let me make sure I'm tracking that correctly. When that first bye week is, I think that first bye week is before. Yeah, that first bye week is before the Florida game. So we will go to the Swamp, and then the very next week be in Dallas, right? Because we go to the Swamp October 4th, and we'll be in Dallas for OU on the 11th. So that's a tough little spot there. Getting ready for OU, obviously wanting to play your first rival of the season, but playing a Florida team where they obviously rested a lot of people after they lost some people in the war to Georgia, and then came back and turned up at the end of the season after us when they rested some people in Austin. But we did kind of run it up on them in Austin. I'm not going to front. And Florida's not as bad. Even last year, they were not as bad as we made them look. I said that was the situation. Them playing the third string quarterback, the whole situation was interesting. So the Florida game, I think there's a spot there where we could get tripped up. I think we're probably going to drop one or two games, and I think one of those games will be in that stretch. Let's see. trying to see what y'all are saying. Is Lagway going to come healthy? That's the other thing too. Lagway's health is the big question. Florida's fans don't seem to be concerned, but they're fans. But how can you not be concerned about? I believe it's his shoulder that they're having issues with. Now, if he's healthy, that's a great combination because you got Lagway, who's the Mad Bomber at this point, best deep ball thrower in the country, with what should probably be the best running game in the SEC. With Jaden Baugh and some of the other backs that they have, that's going to be a very, very interesting group of runners that they have behind a very good offensive line that does get push. They were getting pushed against everybody. So that will be interesting. But Florida also, after they play LIU, they seemingly will be in a war almost every week. It seems like if I look at, and I think we did this exercise before looking at Florida's schedule. I think one of the things for them is, will they have the depth even early in the season to navigate?
Hey, we have an emergency.
A bit.
Emergency, sorry.
Okay. Folks, I'm gonna have to cut the stream. I'm sorry, my wife just came in and said we have an emergency here, so I will have to cut the stream. I'll be back with a video on my third bold prediction. I'm very, very sorry, but I got to go deal with this. Folks, remember, horns always up. Hopefully everything's going to be okay downstairs. I'll be back.